Sebelum saya cakap dalam bahasa English, saya mau cakap sedikit dalam bahasa Melayu. Terima kasih. Saya tahu tuan-tuan sokong saya. Terima kasih. Jangan lupa undi saya Dr. Tan Cheng. Terima kasih. 亲爱的朋友们，谢谢你来参加这个 rally。我很高兴你们来支持我做总统，谢谢你们。朋友弟兄，感谢今年你来支持我真欢喜，欢迎老总来。这17号，我就想，你去投票，想当Cheng Bock，我做你总统。Dear friends, thank you for coming to this indoor rally. During the past 2 months, I have walked all over Singapore because I want to connect with the people. Many have asked me, Doc, you need not come. But I told them no. I never expect my vote. I come and earn it by coming to engage you. I went to so many shopping centers, MRTs, bus interchange. In fact, I saw a very good, many parts of Singapore which I've never seen before. But I really enjoy it. Unfortunately, despite my many walkabouts, I've not been able to reach many of you because of the sheer size. When we are contesting at the general elections, it's only a size of, like my old Ayaraja, I think just, I need a 2 or 3 4 or 5 bus stops, that's it. But when I started to campaign, the whole of Singapore Island, I really realized how big it is. So I want to thank many of you who have come all the way from the north, west, south, to the Singapore Expo to listen to what I have to say. I really want to thank you. Tonight, I'm glad I'm able to see you all in person and wish you a very good evening. We have come to a long and hard journey of campaigning for the presidential election. But we did it in an honorable way. We kept to the rules of election governing the presidential elections. I told my men that this election is not a general election. And we must keep within the boundaries of a presidential election. So we make sure that all our mailers, our banners, our posters, everything must comply with the rules and regulations set out by the election department. And we did it. As a result, none of my posters need to be taken down by the election office because we complied. I told my election agents to follow the rules because if I get elected, I want to stand tall. I don't want people to say that, look, when he was campaigning, he did not comply with the rules and regulations of the presidential election. I must stand tall should I get into this time. Therefore, we must conduct this election, I told them, in a very dignified and orderly way. So tonight we decide to hold an indoor rally. We decided that being a presidential election, let us do something different. Let us see whether an indoor rally will be better than an outdoor rally. And I think it's quite good. At least you are in an air-conditioned environment. You see, a general election, the topics discussed at the general elections deals with bread and butter issues. And this is expected because it's a general election. All the political parties want to gain the maximum number of seats so that they can gain the power and form the government. So the elections are very heated up, very electrifying, and very emotionally charged. But a president election is not like that, because you are choosing somebody who is going to go to Istana, the highest office of the land. So let us, I told my men, we must be different. You are here to see how the candidate, me, is going to represent you, not only in Singapore, but also in the international arena. Over this election campaign, I've been asked many questions about my financial, my diplomatic knowledge, background, and my independence. I would like to take this opportunity to reply to my opponents and to let you know that I'm the most balanced candidate, fulfilling all the necessary qualities. I have been questioned on my financial background. Many of them think that I'm only a country doctor. But I'd like to surprise you that for over 20 years, I was the chairman of a company called Cheng Bock Holdings. Cheng Bock Holdings started as a shipping company with logistics and slowly expanded to have manufacturing, to have construction, and even into the field of shipping, logistics shipping, and we became one of the biggest logistics shipping company in Southeast Asia. Lately, and over the years, we changed our operations into an investment holding company, a little Temasek holding. I saw the group through two financial crises. I can tell you when a financial crisis hit us, you need a lot of judgment calls, because how you manage the finances is extremely important, or else the company will collapse. For two financial problems, difficulties we went through, I must say, we did it well, and the company is still doing very well. Many were surprised. They were surprised when they heard I served in a bank. I was asked by this big multinational, this big bank called ING, the bank that sponsored your F1 racing cars, the Formula 1 racing cars. Now, I was wondering why they want me. I said, I'm a medical man, I don't know anything about your banking. But the reason they wanted me was they were looking for somebody who can ask the right questions, who is honest and who's got integrity and also the guts to make difficult decisions. Unfortunately, this bank had to be sold, and I'm glad we sold to OCBC, which is our local bank. I'm glad we sold it to OCBC. We sold it not because the bank was not doing well. The bank was doing too well, and the parent company in Netherlands suffered a big loss, and they had to recoup some money, so they had to sell this bank. But after I sold the bank, this is what the Netherlands bank boss said about me. I want to quote what he said. To give you an idea that if I get into Istana, I can manage your reserves. Let me quote. One of the purposes of having a board is to bring different backgrounds, perspectives, and experience to the management of the business. And with the composition of this board, we clearly achieved that. Your willingness to listen and think through the issues and to put your reputation, I put my reputation when I make that decision, behind your decisions has been very valuable. The best a chairman can wish for are colleagues who can think laterally. Many of us think this way, while sometimes you're going to think that way to get the things done. And cover more than just your own committee topics and responsibilities. You did that and provided management and myself with the necessary confidence in executing the strategy. And they were surprised because the demands I expected of that bank when they sold it to OCBC, making sure they carried out according to our corporate governance under our MAS rule. And they were very surprised, and they were with my position because they didn't realize that as an independent director of this bank, I take my responsibility very, very seriously. As a director and member of the executive committee of MRT and LTA, I was involved in hundreds of millions of dollars in building your north-south, east-west and the Circle Line. When we make decisions, these are big decisions. So if anyone thinks that I'm not good in the financials, they better go and ask LTA and better go and ask MRT. I will look after your reserves. Let me just tell you, the first MRT contract was worth $4.5 billion. And you have to make decisions to make sure that this money is utilized properly to buy your trains, your signaling system, and also the whole rail system. I'm not sure whether the other candidates have this have to run a public listed company as long as I have, 20 years. You know, when you're in a listed company, every year there's an AGM. And at every AGM, you're facing a firing squad because your shareholders will ask you all the questions and you must know the answers. Now let me tell you on diplomacy. Many of them think that you must be a minister to be a great diplomat. I tell you, not necessary. For 15 years, I led the Singapore European Parliamentary Group. And my responsibility is to look after all the diplomats and all the parliamentarians from Europe when it comes to this part of the world. And when Europe wanted to become a union, wanted to gang together. We had to make sure that the fortress Europe that they were trying to build will not affect ASEAN. That is, we need a lot of diplomacy to discuss all these issues with the parliamentarians of Europe. Then they posted me to the ASEAN region because ASEAN at that time had a lot of hiccups among the countries. But we did well. You see, when you want to deal with countries, there's a lot of give and take. You don't have to go and posture yourself that you are such a great debater to win your case. And many a times, when I go to Malaysia, for example, to talk to the parliamentarians there on your rail issue, on your water issue, on the airspace, it was a very amicable and very pleasant exchange. That is diplomacy. We don't have to be bang tables and show how clever we are sometimes. So my diplomatic experience is widespread, and I will use this knowledge that I've gained over the years in these two portfolios to help me to be a good diplomat for Singapore when I hold the office of the President should I get elected. Some people think that I'm not independent because I was a former PAP member. Yes, I am a former PAP member. But I never told the PAP line all the time. The PAP has done me well, has given me a lot, and I have to acknowledge that. They have helped me. But when there are issues, we have to choose within my party and the nation. I choose the nation first over my party. So when G says that I'm not independent because I belong to the PAP, or even Tony also belongs to PAP, not independent. Kin Lian also the same. I asked him, you're also from the SDP. So you cannot say your short stint in SDP disqualify you as not associated with the SDP. So he's also part of those arguments about independence. But however, I have to ask certain questions about independence. Tony Tan, for example, is currently the chairman of the National Research Foundation, which is a department of the Prime Minister's office. So he has to report to the Prime Minister. I think you all have a right to know whether he's independent or not. Moreover, he just left GIC 3 months ago. I've been in the corporate world for 20 years. If you want to be an independent director, you cannot serve as an independent director in that company unless you have moved away from that company for 3 years. Now, this is a ruling by MAS, and all the listed companies must follow this. Tony only left GIC 3 months ago.